So here is a look at a fake and real pair of Travis Scott Dunks. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a pretty special comparison. As you can probably tell by the title of the video and just by the boxes themselves, this is the Travis Scott SB Dunks, and this is just a comparison between a real and a fake pair. So I received the fake pair today, and then I'm using a retail pair that my friend Brad Hobbs has. His links will be all in the description again, so a big shout out to him. We'll just try and break down some of the flaws between the fake pair and the real pair, just so that you can legit check when you're trying to buy an authentic pair. So firstly, we'll start with the two boxes. Both boxes are incredibly similar. Can you tell which is real and fake just by looking at the top? This one here is the fake pair and this one here is the real pair. So the slight difference is actually in the colour of the red. If you look from the top, I'm not sure it's going to show up well on the camera, but the red is much darker and more vibrant on the real pair compared to that of the fake pair. But other than that, every other colour is spot on, there's no difference there. If I spin it round, you can take a look at the labels side by side. I will give you a close-up comparison of this as well. So if you look at the labels themselves, there really isn't much difference at all. The font and text size of the fake pair compared to the retail pair is absolutely identical. In terms of colour and everything like that, that is also the same. The QR code and everything is spot on. However, as you can see to the side of the barcode, there are slight differences there. This is because, once again, the Replica have based this on a US box, but that is the only difference there. So as you can see, the boxes are incredibly close, but we'll now open it up and take a look at the shoes themselves. So if we open it up, on the retail one, it is a darker shade than that of the fake one, but that is the only difference as well. Both of them come with the extra white paper, but as you can see on the retail one, it's much thinner and has a striped pattern on it compared to the fake one, which is just a plain piece of paper. So we'll move the boxes to the side now and take a look at the shoes. So here is a look at a fake and real pair of Travis Scott Dunks. So just from looking at them, can you tell which one's the fake pair and which one is the retail pair? I will now give you some B-roll just so you can check out some of the details. So now that you've seen some of the details, do you know which one's fake and which one's real? This one here on my right side is the retail pair, and this one here on my left side is the fake pair that was sent to me. The person that has sent this to me will be tagged in the Instagram post, just because that's what I have to do to be able to get these pairs. They will also have probably commented below their details so you can check them out. This retail pair was purchased from StockX by Brad for an extortionate amount of money, but fair play to him. Here is the StockX tag as well, it's attached to it. One difference straight away that can be noted is on the retail pair, the spare pair of laces was attached to the right shoe, whereas on the replica pair, the spare pair of laces were not attached at all, and they do have this tag on the left one. So I'll move the right shoe to the side and actually go into a comparison between the two shoes. So the first thing to notice, I will give you a close-up of all these details as well, is the laces themselves. On the retail pair, they are actually a darker creamy colour compared to that of the fake one, which is a much lighter colour. Also, it has to be noted that on the fake one, the laces are a little bit thinner than that of the retail one. And as you can see, it seems to be an almost different material because the retail one is also fluffing up a bit on the laces, whereas the replica one does not do this. Both of these shoes are dead stock, so take that into consideration. However, the retail one here is a size 9.5 UK and the fake one is a size 9. So if we turn the shoe round to the outer side, can you spot a difference here? The first thing to note is actually the placement of the swoosh. If you look at the Nike swoosh on the fake one here, you can see there's a large gap going between the outer pattern and the actual swoosh itself, whereas on the retail one, you can see the gap here is much smaller. This is a noticeable flaw on the replica pair. If I give you a close-up of the toe box material now, you can see there are slight differences here. The alignment and the placement of the holes on the replica pair is slightly different to that of the retail one. It is placed further down the shoe compared to that of the retail. Also, the material is slightly different on the retail compared to the replica, but however, with use, this will be incredibly hard to tell. It's just because these two are dead stock, you can actually see the differences in the material. On the outside, if you look at the bandana print, you can see the pattern all over it varies compared to the replica below. However, I wouldn't take this into consideration too much because they do vary between different sizes and which shoe you get, because they haven't got the cut perfectly right on every single shoe. So this isn't something to notice. However, if you do take a close-up of this bandana print, you can see that the materials are slightly different, but this can only be seen at very close, in-depth look. You'd have to have both pairs in hand because it is pretty hard to see, but I hope it's coming across well on the camera. So now if we spin the shoes around and take a look at the embroidery on the back where it says Nike, you can see that on the retail pair, the Nike embroidery on the back of the retail one is much cleaner and more tightly embroidered on the back, as well as it being a much darker pink than on the fake one. This is a thing that they haven't seemed to have got right yet. They are still working on the Nike embroidery on the back. There is some differences there. If you look below that though, there are stitching going along on the almost stone coloured material. On the retail one, you can see that the gaps between each stitching is evenly placed. It looks very cleanly done, whereas on the replica one, you can see the stitching is slightly squint and some gaps are larger than others. If we now take a look at the inside label here, comparing this real to the fake, we can see that on the fake one, the text is much smaller than on the retail one. On the retail one, the text is much larger than the fake one, and the text is placed lower on the label and a slightly lighter colour than that on the fake. Once again, if we look at the inside of the shoe, this is the retail one here. Look how closely the Nike swoosh is to that bandana print on the inside. Whereas if we look at the fake one on the inside, there's still a much larger gap between the pink swoosh and the bandana print. If we look at the sole of both shoes, they are pretty much identical. This one here is slightly lighter. Also, the Nike print on the bottom doesn't stick out as much as it does on the fake, so that is one difference there to notice. Also, around the toe point of the sole, the stars on the retail one are much more defined than they are on the replica one, even though these are both dead stock and haven't been worn. If they had been worn, this would be much harder to tell. In terms of the spare laces, as you can see here, the replica one in my left hand, the pink laces are a slightly darker shade to that of the retail one, but this is very minor, and if they hadn't switched the laces to something like the black one, these ones are completely spot on. This was one of the early batches of Travis Scott's that has been sent to me, so you can see there are some differences there. However, for a first batch, this is incredibly good, and I think they are only going to get better, so that is quite worrying. But as you can see from this video, there are still some differences to look for, so do look out for them when you're trying to legit check a pair. Probably the main difference is actually the Nike embroidery on the back. Still don't seem to have corrected this with the batches as I've seen online. This was just a short review and will be a test on my Instagram. Please subscribe and follow that as well if you can. It really does help the channel grow. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Stay safe, have a great day.